wanted to speak with you guys today on this topic because this is something that many people deal with. I mean, this is rampant and prevalent. Narcissism is a pandemic as equally as people-pleasing is a pandemic. And what does that mean? Okay, so when we first come here, I'm going to give you this briefly. I talk about it a lot on my channel. That when we first come here, we are whole and perfect little beings, and we enter into a human body. And we are very much connected to our source and where we came from when we first came here, which is God, universe, source, whatever it is that you want to call it. And we know nothing other than our divinity and our divine self. But as we start to grow through life, what happens is that we start to become, literally the brain starts to enter different wavelength states where we start to become more aware slowly but surely of the outer world. And we move from delta wavelength to theta to alpha and into beta. What that means is we go from not just from our inner world anymore where we know nothing other than our divinity. It's that we start to pay attention to what's happening in the outside world. And what happens is we start to get messages from the outside world. And that outside world will give us things like, you know, they'll tell us no, or we're not enough, or we're too much, or we're doing something wrong, or we should be better at this, or we should look like this and act like this and do these certain type of things. And what happens is that we start to, because the ego is starting to form, these messages are then processed through the ego because the ego is loud, and then we start to think something's wrong with us. And that's where shame and unworthiness take root. And shame and unworthiness are a huge part of the human journey, and they are the reason it is what we are trying to undo or to heal from as we grow through life. So I don't want to get it all into that, so let me just start here. So what happens is when that shame and unworthiness takes root, two things happen. You guys know I talk a lot about people-pleasing recovery because that's what I am. Kristen Brown's a recovering people-pleaser. And so what happens is that two things can happen to a person when this starts to happen. The first thing is this people-pleasing, which means that we really get hyper-focused on pleasing other people to try to reclaim that unworthiness or try to reclaim that worth that we lost. So we just feel so bad, and we think unconsciously, because the outside world took it away from us, that we have to get it from the outside world. So that's where people-pleasing comes into place. That's where we start to don masks and we become these fractured versions of who we are. We move so far away from our authentic self because we feel like we have to get love, approval, and acceptance from the outside world. That's what people-pleasing is. So we become hyper-focused on the needs of other people. What do they need? Well, who do they want me to be? How should I change, shift, or morph and chameleon to meet this other person's needs? So the focus is outside of self. But narcissism, so here's the unworthiness, right? It can go this way into people-pleasing, and this is a spectrum, right? It can go just mildly people-pleasing over to really deep people-pleasing. Or we can go this direction to where the focus turns inward. And we meet all of our own needs constantly. It's all about us. We have to please us, okay? So one's an outward focus and one's a highly inward focus. So the difference between people-pleasing and narcissism. And narcissism is on a spectrum as well. It goes this way. Now, people can be, they can be a little bit toxic, or they can be a little bit selfish, and they can be a little bit on the spectrum, but that doesn't mean they're a narcissist. So I really want to be mindful about what narcissism is. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a mental health professional, but I know enough about this, and I have experienced this type of behavior so many times in my life from people that I understand it on a very deep and personal level. And I didn't know that it was called narcissism for a very long time. I just felt like people were selfish, or they just didn't care, or, I had attached my own, English onto what I thought it meant. But then I later learned this, and so I processed through that because I have been a person who has basically studied human nature my entire life. It's who I am. It's what I came here with. I've always been curious about why people do what they do. And I've also been very attached to how we can not hurt, how we can stop feeling pain. Because I noticed at a very young age that basically it was around high school that so many people are in pain and so many people think they need to be something else. So this coupled with my personality, I ended up, I'm just a seeker. I'm a person that's tried to figure things out my entire life, and I figured a lot of stuff out. But I did it all on my own. And much of this was happening pre-internet, or very, very baby, infantile internet. So it wasn't like I was searching for things. Plus I was busy, I owned a business, and I had children, small kids. So this wasn't something that I did a lot of outward, like looking stuff up research-wise. I went within and I did a lot of this healing and growth and knowledge through God, through the highest power of the universe, because that's one of the things that I do. Is when I didn't have answers, I would, the hell is that? Oh my God, it was a bug. I thought it was inside, but it was outside. It was big, ugly, weird. Anyway, so I did a lot of my, everything was from within, and I would ask God questions like, why does this happen? And then in a quiet moment, I would get the answer. And so things started making sense. And then as the internet opened up and all these videos and things, then I started to realize, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. This is what they're calling narcissism. So I dug into what narcissism was, and I realized that narcissism is on a spectrum as well. But the key thing to remember here is that it is rooted from the same place that people-pleasing is from, which is from shame and unworthiness. It just took a different form. And here's what's interesting about life is that, we are here to grow and evolve and to learn and to shift and to do all the things that we need to do. That's the whole purpose here. It's called a spiritual journey for a purpose. So what happens is that people pleasers are the same energetic vibration as narcissists. So we actually attract to each other, which is just uncanny. And I liken it to a key in a lock, okay? The overgiver, okay, give, attracts the overtaker, take, and whoosh, it's a key to a lock. So now this is not, of course, necessarily true if we have narcissistic parents and things like that. And I would say chances are, if you are someone who has a narcissistic parent or some type of elder that or environment that you were raised in, that you are probably on the spectrum of people pleasing, because there was a part of you going, no way in hell I'm going to be that. Like, that is just not okay. Or you had to so much please your, shift and morph and skirt around a chameleon to please this narcissist in your life that you also became a people pleaser. But put all of that aside, it is a spectrum. And I want people to understand that, because I don't speak in absolutes. Okay, so every selfish person is not a narcissist. Every person that has a toxic behavior is not a narcissist. However, handling toxic people and narcissists is the same. It's very, very similar, okay? Because it is all about pulling back our power. It is about reclaiming our power with those people. And if we are on the people-pleasing spectrum, we're very, very used to pleasing the person. So at first, when we stop feeding the narcissist and we stop, and we're taking our power back from them, it's going to feel awkward and uncomfortable, because it's not something that we're used to doing. And that's okay. There's an old saying that says everything outside, your best life is on the outside of your comfort zone. And this comes with personal healing as well. Okay, so when we start to do this, it might be like, oh my God, I don't like this. I'm afraid of what's going to happen. It's going to feel bad. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being mean. Oh my gosh, that was a huge thing for me when I was learning to set, I always set boundaries. I always have to make that clear. It wasn't that I couldn't speak up about my stuff. What the problem was, I couldn't maintain it. I couldn't maintain it in a way that I could see it through to the end and then actually benefit from it. So, I don't just say set boundaries to people. You'll always hear me say set and maintain. Set and maintain. Because you'll hear set a boundary, set a boundary, set a boundary, set a boundary. Setting boundaries is not the problem. A lot of us can do that. It's actually trying to maintain the doggone things that we trip up, because we are wired to please other people, because we're the people pleasers. So don't let this thwart your progress. Don't let this stop you, because it's normal and natural that you are going to feel that way. You're going to feel like it's weird, especially if you have had narcissists or toxic people in your life who have called you names. Okay, especially if we have a lot of hidden shame and unworthiness, and then somebody else calls us a name, this can really, set us back. I remember that stage of my journey very clearly, you guys. It actually made my eyes tear up, because I feel like this is a very profound thing. When my eyes tear up, that tells me two things when I'm on a live talk. That tells me that this is a very profound thing, and or that someone that is listening right now currently really needs to hear this. So perk up your ears, because same thing when I'm on my other social audio channels where I speak live. I can be speaking live walking down the road, and they're not video, they're just audio, and the same thing will happen to me, and I know that somebody needs to hear this right now. So I'm glad that you're here, and I'm proud of you for being here, and I'm proud of you for seeking. I'm proud of you for doing what you need to do for you, because it's about time. And I don't say that condescendingly. I say it to myself as well. It's like, Kristen, how, I had to be homeless and cheated on again and physically abused from my second husband, and for me to finally like wake up. Like, I had to wake up. I was asleep at the wheel. I was just this automaton doing these things. And I'm a very smart person, as I'm sure you are too. I'm smart, and it made sense to me that these things were wrong, that these people were doing, but they're doing it, but I love them, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. It's a clusterfuck, and it's mind-blowing. And thanks, this guy almost ran into me. He was looking down. I was like, whoa, almost got nailed by a Jeep Cherokee. He looked up at the last minute. So my point is that if this is new to you, if you are right now, you're like, okay, I'm really wanting to shift and heal and grow from this, okay? You are doing the right thing, because you are here in this room right now, and you are speaking to somebody who's been there and who has transcended it and has found a better way. And I will tell you guys, there is peace on the other side of this. And it doesn't mean that we get rid of all the narcissist and or toxic person, again, spectrum, okay, in our life. It doesn't mean that that's necessarily what happens, because we love some of these people. Let's be honest, some of these people we love, and we don't want to never see them again. And this is something that a lot of times people won't talk about. Like, you'll hear, toxic person, run the other way. Narcissist, run the other way. They want it to be a cut and dried thing. And I have to say that, that might be pertinent in certain situations, yes, where the abuse is so bad that you're like, I cannot do this anymore. And I always want to offer you guys to go within and be your own best advocate, okay? That's part of self-love. That is part of reclaiming our personal power, is to become your own advocate and to get really quiet within and to say, what is it that I need to do for me right now? And your answer might scare you. Because if there's this piece of you that is going, I need to not be around them anymore, that could be scary. This could be a family member. This could be someone at work. This could be your best friend. I mean, it could be someone that you're like, how do I not be around this person? Or how do I X them from my life, right? But doesn't mean you have to do anything now. And I say this a lot, that just because we have an awareness, you guys, and it's an awareness because it'll be very neutral. Okay, it's a neutral. If it's like, oh my God, I need to leave. If it's that kind of a feeling as the message comes in, that could be your ego. All right. But if you're just sitting there and you're like, what do I need to do? And very quietly says, don't be in a relationship with them anymore. A lot of times we want to block that message. Because fear. It's like, what is this going to mean? All right. And I want you guys to just understand this. No one's forcing you to do anything. You're your own judge, jury, advocate. You're your own protector, and you get to choose. And this is a spiritual journey, you guys. This means that not all of us are ready to do certain things at certain periods of time. So when people come at us and they're like, you need to just leave, or you need to just, or you need to just, okay, bless their hearts, because it's rooted in love. They want to help. They want to help us. And that might be what they're capable of doing. But if we're not capable of doing that yet, then that means that we don't need to do that. And I don't mean we don't need to. That might be our end goal. Can you see how I'm really trying to put this power back into your hands? Because there is, I didn't leave my narcissist, heavy drinking, cheating, and physically abusive second husband, you guys. And shocking. People that know me, they're like it's mind-blowing, because I'm a spicy individual. I've got a lot of energy. I'm a scrapper. I grew up with 4 boys. I can hold my own, right? Yet, that thing inside of me kept me there. he left me. It's ironic. But here's what I think about this, okay? Or let me go back a little bit. I couldn't leave. There was something inside of me. I had, now in hindsight, I look back and I know what it is. I had a lot of fear. I had been divorced once before. I wasn't really sure what I was seeing with this. I was like, made the excuses for the narc, like a lot of us do. Like, oh, it was a bad day, or maybe I shouldn't have asked that question, or, you know, all the things that we do. And I couldn't leave. I also had a toddler with him. So we had a baby together, and, you know, it was just a lot of moving parts, and he was gone a lot because he was an international pilot. So he was gone 5 to 6 weeks at a time because of the gig that he had was working for one man. He was an oil magnate in Nigeria. So he was working for that guy, and then he'd fly this guy around the world like he was his taxi driver. And he was gone 5 to 6 weeks at a time. So it was like, I said this to my husband the other day, you guys. I literally said, because my ex came recently to visit our daughter. And I was like, I look at him and I'm like, I had sex with that guy. I was married to that guy. I mean, he's such a stranger. It is the strangest thing because I look, you know, we share a daughter, and I'm like, he was out of her life for 7 years. Okay, he completely abandoned her for 7 years. And then he wanted to come back in, and I always wanted to hold that space for her, and I did. And I did a brilliant job. I kept myself out of it. Long story short, things have moved on. They have a fairly good workable relationship right now. But my point is that he was a stranger. All right, he was a kind of a virtual stranger. Like, when we met, he lived somewhere else. He lived in the Grand Canyon. I'm in Phoenix. Then when he moved down here, he's getting jobs where he was gone a lot. And so, it was very confusing to me. And this is the point I want to make to you guys. That's my story. And that story was confusing to me. And your story might be confusing to you. All right? So don't judge yourself. Tenet number one of one of the 5 tenets of self-love is acceptance and compassion. You are where you are with this person right now because you are where you are. You're on a spiritual journey, and that's your step. That's your stage. Or that's your floor of the building. Sometimes I look at our journey as floors of a building, right? Because we up level. That's where you're at right now. Don't judge yourself. Give yourself compassion. And just start to take in knowledge and build yourself up. Now, I have to disclaim, if there is physical abuse, chances are that will escalate. And it could get worse, and we know what can happen because we all watch Dateline. So I'm just going to say, I don't advocate for people to stay when there's physical abuse involved. And I'm not advocating for you to stay even in a toxic or narcissistic relationship. What I'm doing is I'm having a sit-down talk with you guys so that you know that you can act, that you are powerful. You just don't know it yet. And that's all right. I was powerful too, and I didn't know it yet. In fact, I was so powerful. That power and that love that we exude, because we tend to be very, very loving and giving individuals, that love that we exude, believe me that your narcissist sees it. He sees it because he's an energetic being too. And a lot of times people want to say the empath narcissistic cycle, like that's what they call it, the empath narcissist thing. I disagree with that. You don't have to. I do, because all empaths mean is that we pick up on other people's emotions. Okay, we're energy readers. Because what's emotion? It's an energy. So guess what? We all have that. We all have that ability because we are connected to the divine. So to say that the empaths attract that, no, that just means you're an energy reader. Okay, the doormats and the people pleasers attract the narcissists. And that doormat term sometimes can be shocking to people because they're like, oh my God, I don't want to call myself a doormat. Like, you know what does it mean? It just means you allow people to walk on you. Or you did. It's nothing. You know, my first book was called From Doormat to Sweet Empowerment. And one of my hair clients at the time, she came to buy the book. She came to my salon and she's like, I'm buying my book. I'm like, okay. I gave her my book and she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, I don't know why you wrote this book, quote unquote. I don't know why you wrote this book. You're not a doormat. Isn't that funny? My client didn't see me that way. The outside world didn't see me that way. And I said, you know why? Because you see me only in a business sense. I said, I am a doormat. I have been a doormat in my personal life. And it was a part of me that she had never seen. So she was looking at me as not a doormat. But my point is that that light inside of you, that love, that giving, that generosity, that beautiful, shiny human being that you are, your narc sees it. Okay, the toxic people around you are seeing that, and it also scares them. Okay, because one, they don't feel like they're that. Remember the shame and unworthiness that is causing their problem. You may not even know you're that, but that's why they want to isolate us from people, because they see our brilliance, they see our shininess, they see our light, they see how attractive, and I'm not talking about physical looks. They see how attractive we are to the outside world. They see how likable we are, and they want to pull us in because they know that we're surrounding ourselves with people that like us, and those people will likely try to talk us out of being with them. So that's why the isolation thing happens. Okay, so I want to move on with this and say that it's really important that we understand that we are part of the dynamic in the narcissist, people-pleasing narcissist cycle. Stand by, I gotta take a sip. I got to get a brand deal with Starbucks because I'm always drinking these live. That's coming. Anyway, so I might want to drink it before it gets cold, so excuse me, you guys. So we're part of this dynamic with them, and this is part of reclaiming our personal power in life, is to understand that we are part of everything that we are experiencing. And this can be upsetting to people. In fact, I noticed when I was talking about the empath dynamic situation, could have been coincidence, but the number of people watching dipped out. So a lot of what I say can be startling to people, or can want to make people like, they don't want to look at that because they're stuck in their story. And they want to stay in their story because they feel like their story, where making that person the bad guy, is going to keep them powerful, okay? The ego feels strong, all right? It feels like, wow, yeah, you know, they're the bad guy, they're the bad guy, they're the bad guy. Guess what? No, they're not treating you right. They're not. But what they're doing is they're doing an overt action, okay, that's causing the dysfunction of the relationship. It's overt. The world sees it. They're gaslighting, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're isolating you. They're doing all these things that they're doing, right? And the world sees that. But do they see over here? A lot of times people miss the people pleasing. They miss the doormatting down. They miss the playing small. They miss the walking on eggshells. They miss the accepting the unacceptable. They're missing the fact that we're not maintaining boundaries. A lot of that stuff is really hidden and passive and covert, so people don't see that. And, you know, this is like so unpopular to say, but we're no better than the narcissist. It's just their behavior is aggressive, and our behavior is small and meek and small. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said it's the key to the lock. But it doesn't mean we're better than them. Okay, they're a human being. They're a child of God. So it's important that we look at this. This doesn't mean we condone. I got to throw that in there. It doesn't mean we condone anything that they're doing. Okay, this is not okay. It is abuse. I need you guys to know it is abuse. That is abuse coming to us. But we also abuse ourselves by taking it, putting up with it, staying in it, and not utilizing the tools that we need to utilize. And that's the whole point of me with this live today, is I really want to get in depth about the tools that we can use to shift out of this mode, because it is possible. And I will tell you this, you guys, again, since I'm kind of funky about calling everybody a narcissist, I have paid attention to people that have had what I would consider narcissistic tendencies. That's a better way to put it, narcissistic behaviors or narcissistic tendencies. Full-blown narcissist, to call someone that's for a mental health professional. But people in my life that were doing that is also equivalent to toxic behavior. What I noticed, and this will be fascinating, is when I started applying the methods that I'm going to share with you guys, once I started applying this, I got results. I got results fast. Those results started to happen so fast that I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me that this is how easy this was, okay? This is how fast it can shift. But here's the point. This is fascinating. The answer, they say there's a spiritual answer to every problem. And the answers are usually quite simple. Now let that sink in. Okay, that's spiritual gurus that have said this. There's a spiritual answer to every problem. And the answer is typically quite simple. Yet, we as human beings, because we got the thinking brain and we got, all the things, the emotions, the thoughts, the beliefs, all the things that we have all wrapped up in this, what happens is sometimes we make things more complicated than they need to be. And we think there's this big, huge, drawn out thing that needs to happen, and it doesn't. And at my age now, you guys, I will tell you with certainty that everything has a simple answer. What's not simple is the healing that needs to happen that leads up to the answer. So that's why when someone says, apply the gray rock method, it's like, okay, at first it's like, yay, gray rock method, yay, and then you start to applying the gray rock method, but you trip up and there's problems, and well, no, they did something different. Now I don't know how to handle that. And okay, now I'm feeling bad. Maybe I'm the a-hole. Oh my gosh. We get tripped up because we're not yet fully wearing the suit of empowerment. And that's okay. I want you to give yourself grace for that, because this is a process. We hear it all the time. We're all works in processes. We are all works in processes, you guys. There is no denying it. So to judge ourselves for any place along the journey is to hurt ourselves. And it is to bully ourselves. And it is to keep us in that low vibe place of shame and unworthiness. So one of the ways that we can set ourselves up to do better the next time that we're interacting with the narc or the toxic person is that we give ourselves grace. Okay? If the last time we're dealing with someone and, we gray rock them, and I'm going to get into these methods here, you guys. I'm planning on being on for an hour. You guys can dip in and out if you need to. I want to say hi to whoever's here right now, and I would love if you comment and send an emoji. Do something that lets me know you're here, you're liking what I'm saying. And if you have questions, by all means, ask any question that you want, and I will stop and I will answer your question. So this is a spiritual journey, and when we give ourselves grace along the way, because there's going to be times when you didn't hit the mark, okay? You missed the mark with what you were trying to say or do with your narc, and you're like, dang it, or you got sucked back in again. Queen of getting sucked in. Queen, ex-queen of getting sucked in. I still occasionally do, depending on where I'm at, but I don't beat myself up about it. I don't go, oh, Kristen, you suck, that was terrible, what did you do that for? I'm like, okay. All right. And I evaluate, and I go within and I evaluate, and I ask myself, what prompted that? And I'll come up with why. Sorry. I was busy. I was tired. I have a headache. I was feeling fearful today. Sometimes I'm in my own fear zone for whatever reason, or believing false beliefs, or focusing on something negative, and those type of things can take me out of my energetic game as well. And then when something comes at me like that, I'm like, So the key is that we just course correct. We're constantly in a state of course correcting. Okay, didn't like the way I did this. Forgive myself, understand, give myself compassion, give myself a big hug, give myself some love, and say, next time you're going to do it a little bit differently, a little bit better. That's the spiritual journey, you guys. And we reclaim our power. Because every single time that you do that for yourself, guess what happens? Your worthiness cup starts to fill. Because remember, we're walking around with this empty worthiness cup, which is promoting our people-pleasing behavior, okay? And we thought, like I mentioned in the beginning, that we had to get the love, approval, and acceptance from outside the world, but really it's our own. So giving ourselves that grace and compassion and acceptance, we are starting to fill our own worthiness cup. This is something that I cannot stress enough, and I cannot tell you, like there's literally no human words that can tell you how quickly you will heal when you start to apply the tenets of self-love. And if you don't know what those are, I have all kinds of videos on those in here, and it is in my upcoming book, The Recovering People Pleaser. So they're in there, and they're outlined, man. And that chapter is called The Miracle Cure. All right, so you can look through the videos, and if you want to go into those, but when we apply the tenets of self-love, and I won't go into detail, but it's basically grace and forgiveness, respect and protect of self, grace and forgiveness of self, respect and protect self, compassion and acceptance of self, positive self-talk, supportive self-talk with us, and self-care. When you apply those things to yourself, that is what fills your void. And you know what happens is that we are better able to show up and to show up as an empowered individual who sets and maintains healthy boundaries and is able to apply the gray rock method where necessary. Okay? So the key here, number one, is that we understand that we're part of the dynamic. We're part of the dynamic, you guys. We can't not be. There's a relationship, and a relationship is two people. And those two people are going to create a sum. Here's the sum over here, okay? So this person plus this person equals this, all right? So when we up-level ourselves, okay, up-level ourselves by shifting, healing, growing, evolving, doing whatever we need to do, what happens is we'll start to change in a higher way because the energetic vibration goes up. That is going to affect the other person, which is going to change the dynamic of the relationship. This is why a lot of times people think you have to get your person on board for this type of change. And I'm telling you right now that the only person that you need to change, heal, shift, grow, evolve is yourself. And when you do that, your situation is going to have a different outcome. It can't not. If you think of you as a 5 and this person is a 5, the numbers are irrelevant. They're not any value to these. And you guys are a 10 and the 10 is not working. You up-level your 5 to something else, a 7 or an 8. That is going to yield a different sum. So this is why I said earlier that when I started to heal myself, when I started to fill my own worthiness cup and started to heal myself, I showed up in the world more empowered, and guess what happened? Can anybody guess in comments? I'll give you a couple seconds to type it. What happened was my relationships healed. My relationships improved because I changed my inner world. And that's why on my banner, the subtitle is Change Your Inner World to Heal Your Outer World. We have the power, you guys. We have the power within to shift, heal, and grow and evolve and to up-level ourselves. And in doing that, it's going to create a different dynamic. Now, I remember doing this with someone in my life that I love dearly. This was maybe 5 years ago. And this person, every time they were in a funk, because this person had high anxiety, anytime that person was in a funk, they'd call me up on the phone and they'd want to blah, 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 about the funk they were in. I have no problem listening to people. I do it for a living. No problem at all. And I'm listening and I can stay detached from their emotions and I can hold the space and validate and offer some ideas and things like that. No problem. But this person had the habit of continually turning it around on me. I would say something, it's like, that's not right, you shouldn't have said that, and all of a sudden I'm the one being attacked. And I'm coming from love, so I know that there's nothing I'm saying that's attacking or whatever. But this person, every single time without fail, would turn that ish around on me. And I finally said, okay, I can't change that person, but I can change me. That's where my control is. So I said, all right, what can I do here? I'm like, next time that this person calls and starts that ish, I am going to dip out of the conversation. I'm going to do it calmly and assertively, and I'm going to do it with love of me in place. Love of me, okay? Because remember, people pleasers think they got to get the love, approval, and acceptance out there, okay? So I started giving that to me. Next time that person called, I was about to go into a grocery store, and they're going off, and again, attacking me, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I said, you know what? I said, hold on, because I did cut in, and I said, I love you, and I want to talk to you about this, but I can't talk to you while you're in this state. So why don't you go get calmed down, whatever, take a couple of deep breaths and call me back when you're ready. Click. I didn't even wait for their response. I'd say click. It's really click, right? We're pushing a button on the phone. I did not wait for a response, and I knew my weakness. My weakness says that they started to text me because I'm a really good communicator. If people message me, I message them back like I'm a super efficient person. So I try to, and I knew if this person texted me that I was going to be tempted to do that. So I left my phone in the car. And I went inside the grocery store, and then I felt myself rushed. I felt myself rush, and I'd go back out. I got to go back out there and like see if they, you know, because, oh my God, what if I did something wrong, right? Because that's the old people-pleasing pattern that was inside of me. And I went inside the grocery store and I said, you are going to take your time, your sweet time, and you're going to enjoy and you're going to get present while you're in here. This is the work we have to do, you guys. But a lot of times people think this work is hard. This work is not hard. It's just very, very conscious. It's mental discipline. Okay? So I walked around that store with my little cart, picking my stuff, right? And by the time I got back into the car, I don't know how long after, but that person said, you know, call me when you get a chance. I called and they were calm. And I had to do that a few more times with that person, okay? Till that person realized that they're not going to get me. They're not going to get the whole of me, the entirety of me, when they act like that. I had to take care of me. I had to protect me, and I had to respect me. Now, many times we do that, again, depending on where your narc is on the spectrum or your toxic person. We have all different variables about what happens here. You might have someone that fights you harder than this, okay? Or they, what's it called when they don't talk to you, they abandon you. They're like, they're not going to talk to you, they're going to ignore you. There's a word for that. Anyway, put it in, because someone knows what I'm talking about, please put it in the comments. But like they abandon you, now they're going to ignore you. You're the bad person. And that can be very upsetting for a people pleaser too. That can be like, oh my God, you know. And if you're someone like me, I like to heal things now. I like to talk about them now and move through them now. I don't like things lingering in the air. But guess what I had to do? I had to get comfortable with things lingering in the air. I had to get back to me, all right? And when things are lingering in the air for me, sometimes that's upsetting to me because, you know, it's out there and it makes me feel like, you know, I can't focus, or, you know, it changes my mood. And I'm a content creator, you guys. So, and I've been doing this for 10, 12 years. So when, you know, I'm like, oh, I can't create now because of this. And I'm like, I can't stop creating because this person is frustrating me or pissing me off. So guess what I learned? I learned to go about my life. Me. Didn't change them. Didn't say stop pissing me off. Went about my life. Lifted my own vibration. Got back into my peaceful space regardless of what they were doing. I'm trying to wake up and process what you're saying. I encountered a very young narcissist on the phone yesterday and it was ridiculous. Oh my good, but Jesus, sorry about that. I know. There's a lot to consume here, you guys. And I'm trying to slow down the way I talk because I noticed that my videos I kind of talk fast. I'm getting used to that whole video thing. I'm used to doing lives. So yes, if you have any questions, please, I think your name was Hot Pink. If you have any questions, please post them in there. If you can make them one sentence, that would be great. Because on my phone, the question pops up and then it syncs real quickly and goes away. So I will be happy. But also I'm going to invite you this. When I'm learning something new, you guys, and this is the God's honest truth. When I am learning something new and I find something that's resonating with me, like a video or a podcast or something, I will put that MF on repeat. On my walks. Every time I go for a walk, where's that video again? Click. Because I know I'm only picking up fragments from it. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in my body. And that's your body telling you, that's your soul telling you, this is resonating somehow. Oh, you're just trying to wake up, like literally wake up, like you just woke up. I got you, sweets. Thank you. I love the messages, you guys. I like to connect with you guys. I consider you guys my YouTube family, my YouTube community, and I love creating with you guys. So my point is that, but to that point too, is if there's something that you're resonating with, just be like, you know, listen to it again. When I tell you, you guys, that I have read books, Return to Love from Marianne Williamson, okay? That is about A Course in Miracles. I don't know if you guys have heard of A Course in Miracles. It's a spiritual text, and it's about reclaiming your inner peace. And first time I went through Return to Love, I highlighted things, okay? Let them sink in. The second time I went through Return to Love, same thing, more things. Let that sink in. It's the third time, I was like, oh my gosh. Like each time I went in there was something different. This is what learning looks like, you guys. This is how we learn. We are literally forming new neural pathways in our brain. That is what learning is. And when we will learn it, when we practice that same neural pathway over and over again. There were so many times, sorry you guys, excuse me, that I went to my bookshelf and I closed my eyes and I put my hand like this across my bookshelf. And the minute I felt a little bit of warmth on my hand, I grabbed that book. Oh, good. You finally passed half a coffee. That's awesome. I would grab that book and I would close my eyes and I go, and I would open it. And whatever was highlighted, that became my study for the day. Okay? So we want to learn this stuff. It's one thing to hear it, yes, but it's another thing to really soak it in and start marinating on it, because that's when it sinks in and it becomes our new thing. So back to energy, pulling energy back. I'm getting hot, you guys. I don't know if I should turn on my AC in my car. It's only 47 degrees out. Maybe I'll open some windows. Hopefully it's not too much noise out there. How about that? I'm going to open some windows. Okay. Ooh, so lovely. I'm going to have a little sip of coffee too. Hold on. Okay, so the key is that when we are dealing with a narcissist and or toxic person, we have to get super mindful about the amount of energy that we are putting into the toxic behavior. Okay, write that down. We have to get super mindful. There was one person in my life that I would sit with, a partner in my life that I would sit with for, oh my God, it was sometimes like 6 hours trying to get this person to see the light, right? And I would get so frustrated and so angry. And then guess what happened? Those conversations were on repeat. Same conversations over and over and over and over and over, and hours and days and all this, because I was trying to convince my toxic person that they were wrong. And they were. The way they're acting was not okay. But I was trying to convince them, and I was wasting my precious energy. And at some point, I was like, I am giving so much energy to this. And I'm saying the same things over again, where I could tell a friend, a family member, a coaching client, I could tell random people on the wisdom app that I'm talking to an idea or a thing, and they'd go, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And it would stick, and they would implement it. But this was not happening with this person. And I will tell you this, there was a part of me that started to believe that these people in my life that were like this, that I would say the same thing over and over again to, I started to wonder about their smarts. And I'm not trying to be mean. I was like, are they not smart? Like this, it was so, these concepts are not hard. Like if you yelling at someone is destructive. That's not a hard concept. Yelling at somebody is verbal abuse. And this person couldn't get it. I was like, but then I realized this person wasn't dumb. This person wasn't not smart. This person didn't want to get it. Hi, Veronica. I wish you a lovely day too. And I love the flower. Thank you, sweets. Thank you. This person wasn't not smart. This person got it. Okay? They didn't want to get it. For whatever reason, which I'm not getting into. That's not about this video right now. They didn't want to get it. Okay? But I was feeding them. I was sitting there with them for hours and hours and hours and hours. Excuse me, you guys. Draining. I have a lot of boundaries, but some of the young ones are on a new level. Yeah, you have to set and maintain those boundaries no matter what the level. That's the one thing that I know for sure. You set and maintain those boundaries no matter what level people are on. It is the same thing. It will always work the same, because we are, as human beings, we are wired and we do the same things. Thank you, Veronica. You're so welcome. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys dipping in and telling me these things. I really love that. So I had to learn to pull back my energy, because I was spending way too much energy. I mean, way too much energy on this stuff. And so I didn't try to change that person. Again, I looked at me and I said, what can I change, shift, heal, grow, evolve about me? And I was like, you're spending way too much time. And so I would tell the person, I can't remember an exact example, you guys, so I'm trying to like just wing this right now on a live, but I would say, look, I've already discussed that. I've already told you, because they'd ask me a question. So, well, what, this and that? I'd say, I answered that. And they would be like, well, but I'm like, I already answered that. I'm like, are we going to go in the same circle, the same questions, or are we going to bring something new to this so that we can move from this? And if it ended up being the same questions, I dipped out. Done. I'm not doing it anymore. right? So what I learned is that when I was staying in it, trying to convince, trying to talk, trying to get them to see the light, trying la 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 la, I was feeding them. I was feeding them. I was being their supply because I was sitting there and I was giving them the attention. Because narcissists don't care if it's negative attention. They don't care if it's about an argument. They don't care. They just want your attention, right? Me, 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 me. Okay. Veronica, I would love for you to ask your question. The thing does pop up really quickly. So if you can make it short, like a short version of the question, because I'm on my phone. Let me see you guys. Let me just take a second here. All messages are visible. Okay. All right. Okay. Looks like it looks like I figured out how to pop it up on the screen. So yeah. Oh nope, it just faded away again. But I know how to pop it up there now. So yeah, go ahead and ask it. But if it's super long, I won't be able to do it on this live. But I do invite you to comment in this live and tell me the little story, and then ask the question very clear and succinctly, okay? Because if I don't know what the question is, I can't answer it, and then I will answer it on a Dear KB if I can't get to it here. But if it's a quick question, go ahead and ask it here. But if it's like a long thing, I can't read all that, all right? So the point is that I had to pull my energy back. I had to do that. And then when I noticed that when I did this, this person slowly over time realized they're not going to get my energy when they're acting like that. Same thing with the phone call. When that person was doing that to me. Okay, go for it, girl. I love your name, by the way. So anyway, I same thing with the phone call. I learned I was staying too long. I was staying enmeshed. I was staying involved because I wanted to have a solution now. And it was not happening. So when I now realize that there is no solution to be had, then I dip. If the person is stuck on their story, they're stuck in their judgment, they're stuck in their argument, they're stuck in making me wrong when I'm clearly not wrong. All right, clearly not wrong. As many times you know you were clearly not wrong with your narcissist or your toxic person. Like they are blowing shit up that doesn't need to be blown up. Like they are taking things personally. They're trying to control you. They're doing all the things. They're smothering you. I don't know what they're doing. And you're like, whoa, because your inner knowing is telling you, and then they're making you wrong. Okay. So when I know that I was clearly not wrong and this person is doing their shenanigans, I dip. And I do it without guilt. At first I was doing it with, oh God, what's going to happen? And this is why I want you guys to give yourself grace on this journey. You are healing from a pattern. Okay, and putting up with that stuff and learning not to, it's going to take a minute. I don't know how many minutes it's going to take for you, but as long as you start doing it, you're going to improve. And here's the best part, you guys. When you start to see that improvement, it's exciting. It's like, oh my God, I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to do more. You know, it feels like that. Just like if you had done something that was really exhilarating to you, like maybe you surf for the first time, you're like, that was crazy, I loved it, I can't wait to surf again. Same type of thing. You're going to want to do more. Doesn't mean you're going to go out and search it, but you're going to get excited. And this is what the healing journey is all about. You're going to start to get excited. The hardest part is that initial step over the threshold. It's that initial time where we're going, I got to do something differently, but man, I'm scared what's going to happen. I'm looking around and I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen? Or are they really going to blow up on me or whatever? I don't care. Here's what happens when you separate yourself and you do it consistently with calm assertiveness. If you yell at them and you're like, well, I'm just going to leave. Okay. I'm just going to leave and I'm just going to this and you did it. And we start yelling and screaming at them. We become the bad guy too, because now we have joined in that energetic frenzy. So the key is to get better and better and better and better at this so that you go, oh yeah, there's that again. All right. And remove yourself. I have literally, if you guys knew the stories, and I can't really tell them because some of them's with personal people that are still in my life. If you knew the stories of the stuff I've done, you'd be like, what? And I'm not saying it's bad. I've just I've just dipped. I'm like, okay, I've seen this before 4,682 times and I've learned my lesson and now I'm going to do this. And whether it's hang up the phone, leave, do whatever I need to do, that's what I do. So I want you guys to understand that your energy is precious. It is precious. It is precious. You are precious. That's what I really want you to know. You are precious. You are precious. There is nobody on this planet that is like you. There is no one here who came before you and who is going to come after you that is you. That is how unique you are. Not only that, you are a divine spark of the most high energy ever, called love, called universe, called God, whatever you guys call it, okay? So am I. There's no one like us. You are precious. So this feeling that you're not precious and you think that you need to take the scraps that is offered to you from this narc that is beating the ever-loving bejesus out of you, who is leaving you a fraction of the version that you were. You got to take that power back. There is life, a brilliant, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, shiny, abundant life on the other side of your relationship with your narc. Okay? Whether you have to leave them or don't leave them. And here's one thing that I do say a lot. The one thing that I do say a lot is that that as you start to set and maintain healthy boundaries and apply gray rock or whatever it is that you need to do, and I'm going to go into gray rock for people that are going, what the fleep is gray rock? What you're going to notice is your person is either going to grow or they're going to go. And you're lucky and blessed and winning either way. So I'm going to say that again. They're going to grow or they're going to go. When we set and maintain these healthy boundaries with people, what happens is people who value us, who really want to be in our life, they're going to go within and they're going to go, okay, I need to stop doing that, right? Even I've had some people that were highly toxic that healed in the most beautiful ways. It was fascinating because they valued me in their life. And they're like, okay, well, to keep her or to still have her attention or to still have her in my life, I need to stop this. And they stopped, okay? Took some time. Took me, washing, rinsing, and repeating. Shampoo, rinse, repeat a couple times. But eventually they get the message, okay? Those are the people that want to stay. They're people that have just maybe have some unhealthy wounds because we're the walking wounded. You guys hear me say this all the time. We are the walking wounded. No one on this earth is going to come out of here unscathed without some type of pain or betrayal or hurt or grief or something, or cheating or used or exploited. We're the walking wounded. We've had stuff happen to us, okay? So sometimes people's toxic behaviors are just based on their wounds, and they have not yet been, what's the word I'm looking for, motivated to look within or to shift that because they've not had any consequences. You could be the consequence. When you pull back from them, you could be that consequence that they have needed. All right, that little shift in behavior may be like, where they want to look at themselves now and be like, oh boy, yeah, I don't want that to happen. Right? And so they start to look within and they start to shift themselves. Now, someone who's really far on the narcissist spectrum, forget about it. They're not looking within. They're never looking within. They're not going to look within until maybe at some point the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of looking within. Okay? Which means it's gotten so bad for so long, or their life has turned upside down so many times that they're finally willing to look at themselves, okay? A lot of times they're not. They will cast you aside. They will throw you in the dumpster like me and my 3 kids were done. I don't know if that's an argument going over there or what. We got 2 kids. I don't know if they're fighting with each other or parents. But anyway, I digress. So I'm sitting in another neighborhood that's not mine. So my point is that no, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to replace you with somebody else that's going to give them that supply. All right, they're going to replace you, and that'll be a revolving door in their life. And this is the thing I need you guys to understand. If your narc person replaces you quickly, this upsets people so much. They were such a jerk, and then they replaced me. Of course they did. That's what they do. That's their status quo. That's what they do. They're looking for people to feed them. If you're no longer feeding them, I'm going to just roll up the windows because I'm getting distracted by a little family scuffle over here. What happens is that they're looking for this constantly. That's what they're doing. And if you're no longer that person, they're going to push you aside. And I hate to say it, and it's painful to hear, but if you're with a true blue narcissist, like my ex, You're with a true blue narcissist like that, like somebody who really is in it for them, period. They're not even going to look back. All right, here you are giving your whole heart and soul to them, and they're not even going to look back. Okay, you know, how can a person leave their child for 7 years? Total abandonment. Not a phone call, not a nothing, not a Christmas gift, not a nothing for 7 years. Okay, how can you do that? Because it was all about him. It was all about him. And he replaced me with someone else, a newer model, and guess what happened? He ended up... Hot Pink said her ex replaced her, and she said, thank God you'll stop calling me 90 times a day. Girlfriend, I like that. I like that. But yes, but if a narc replaces you, it's okay. Please be happy, because like she just said, you know, it's a good thing. But a lot of times people take that personally. They're like, you know, because I was such a good person. They can't see you. They got blinders. They can't see you. All they see is that you're making problems for them because they don't get to get their way. That's all they're seeing. So but let me tell you something, a healthy person is going to go, thank you for bringing that to my attention, or yeah, I can see that that's true, or gosh, I wouldn't want to hurt you that way. I didn't realize that. Healthy is out there. It's out there. It's out there just as equally as unhealthy is. But we have to be willing to pass up meh for marvelous. Meh for marvelous. Anytime that you set a boundary, get this to you guys, and maintain a boundary, and you're like, no, I am worth more than this treatment. I respect and love myself too much to allow that. Anytime you do that, guess what you're telling the universe? You're showing the universe your value, okay? And the universe, remember, the universe is not judging. It's a very neutral energy of love. It's not, there's no judgment going on there. It's like, not like, oh, finally you get it, okay? It's always going to match our vibration. So when we start setting those boundaries like that, guess what universe brings to us? Things that match this improved vibration of our personal value. So a lot of times people are afraid that they're going to re-attract a narcissist because they did the first time. Sister, brother, if you did the work, you won't. You can't, because you have now created a disconnect between the vibration. You have now shifted out of your people pleasing, and you have created a disconnect. Remember, you're not going to be attracted to a narcissist. That is way too much light. That is way too much self-love. That is way too much truth up there. That person knew. In fact, what's funny is I don't care if you're a damn supermodel. I don't care who you are, right? But you're way too much energy. The narc can't go there. They can't. It's like, and they'll probably try to make you wrong or bad or talk smack about you, because truth is you scare them. You scare them. But when we're down here, we're going to keep attracting this thing. So the more that you set these boundaries, your energy is going to up level. Okay? And then you're going to attract better to you. Now, this is all stuff, you guys. Everything I say here is actually wisdom. Wisdom is experiences healed. That's literally what wisdom is. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it that. It means you've gone through a little something, something, and you gained some wisdom along the way. You learned a lesson. And I've learned these things because I've done it myself. And I went the hard and long way through it. I had to figure this out for myself. I was in a toxic relationship with a man, decided to work on myself. I told him I need some time to myself, and it would be better if we didn't see each other. Okay, I think that's the first point. Or if that's just a first point, oh, he was often on his cell phone, ignored me at work, and hurt me emotionally, and treated me as an option in front of his friends. He was firmly in the thought that I wanted to end. Okay, she's telling me her story now. Yes, so this is the thing too, is that when you say to a narcissist you want to go work on yourself, and they don't like that, because now it's about you. Okay, they're typically not going to like that because it's about you. We have to be willing to pass those people up, you guys. When we step into our love of self, people are either going to go, sure, I can meet you at that, or they're going to go, oh, hell no, I'm not. They're going to grow, or they're going to go. They're going to grow, or they're going to go. Let them go. You are up leveling, okay? Hot Pink Jalapenos, which is a great name, by the way. I'm going to read through yours real quickly. So they're going to grow, or they're going to go, all right? Let them go, because I will tell you this with the ultimate certainty. There's amazing people out there waiting for you to up-level your vibe, waiting for you to reclaim your personal power, waiting for you to make yourself matter, waiting for you to move away from that toxic mofo. There's amazing people. A lot of times people are afraid to move away from people because they think there's not going to be anything on the other side of it. They think they're in this desolate wasteland. Oh no, you guys. The universe is abundant. What, there's almost 8 billion people on this planet again? Almost 8 billion people on this planet. And guess who knows them all? God. God knows them all. And God knows who is exactly perfect for you. So on this healing journey of reclaiming your personal power and moving away from those people and learning to set and maintain healthy boundaries and stepping into your full value as an amazing, awesome, beautiful, unique, authentic spirit. When you step into that, God's going to go, whoop, here you go. Okay? You just got to be willing to. So I have to mention this because I said many times about the gray rock method. So I don't want to leave this undone because this is alive and I literally just stream. I stream from God. Whatever comes into my head is what I talk about. I let the universe move through me. Some people call it channeling, whatever. To me, it's just flow. It's just inspirational state. Channeling to me sounds like someone has a special thing. We're all channels, you guys. We're all channels. We're all streamers. We all can get into that creative divine flow where things just flow through us. You guys know what I'm talking about. And that's what I do. But I do want to be mindful to talk about the gray rock method real quick. So the gray rock method, I used to call it just pulling my energy back. That's why you guys heard a lot about that. And the things that I would do in that method, I realized one day I was looking up, someone said, gray rock method for toxic people. And I was like, what's that? And I clicked on it. I was like, oh, that's exactly what I had learned organically, but I didn't know it was called a thing. I'd never heard of that before. I think it's a fairly new term, maybe. So gray rock is, and I'm talking about with extreme narcissists, people that are you're just crazy making. Like you just know, oh my God, you're dreading interaction with them. You know. The best thing to do is to not give them the time or the energy. And this is how we do it. This is just a couple ways we can do it. We have shorter durations of time with them. So let's say it's someone that you have to talk to because it's a family member, you're making plans for Christmas or there's something or whatever. You just make sure that you do it as in short of increments as you can, okay? Short increments. And this is why texting is great because we can wait to respond to things, right? We can wait. We don't have to rush to respond to something. And I love that about texting. The other thing is, don't let them get to you. All right. Here's something that I hear all the time, people, and it's okay. Like, this is okay, you guys. People that are going through a rough situation with a narcissist. I have 2 males in my life right now currently that are divorcing narcissists. And these women are gnarly. Okay. And these guys are just dollies. All right. So it's not just male, female, because it goes both ways. And they're constant. Some of them are just so surprised. Like, can you believe she said or did that? Can you, like, their feelings are hurt. They can't believe, like, these women are up in the ante. Like, it's getting worse. Like, they're turning it on and they're shocked. And one of the things that I keep saying to pull them back down into their body is stop being shocked. Stop being surprised by their behavior. Okay? This is who they are. This is who they were when you were married. But you had the filter because you thought you needed to stay there or put up with it or stay for the kids or whatever it might be, reason. Okay, take the filter off. Look, eyes wide open. This person has done this to you. Okay? And you can almost see the reality come across their face, like, and then they feel shame. Oh my God, how did I stay for so long? Oh my God, I'm like, stop. We're not going to feel shame. Shame serves nothing. You're on a spiritual journey. Wow, I did that. I have been held on my bed by my neck. I stayed. I was put in headlocks. I had bruised arms from being held and shaken. All right. I was punched in the face. That was a boyfriend a long time ago. I was like, I could go on and on about the things that I had done or had been done to me, and I freaking stayed. Okay? I don't judge myself about any of these things, and you need not judge yourself. Okay, you guys? We are where we're at. We're doing the very best we can with the knowledge that we have, the information we've had, the experiences that we had, and the level of personal power that we have. And sometimes it's not very much. Sometimes it has been kicked out of us, either before we met up with the narc or after. But we can get it back. And this is what I want you guys to know with 100% certainty. You're not done. You're not done. And what is waiting for you right now is more brilliant and more beautiful than you have ever experienced. You just haven't seen it yet, so you're not really believing that it's true. But I'm someone who I walked over the bridge. I'm in the other side now. I was in the desolate, dark, dank wasteland of hell. And I crossed the bridge, and now I'm on the other side. Hold on. Sorry, I'm assuming this might be the milk. Okay. So the next thing is yes, I'm going to answer your questions there. Hang loose. Don't stop being surprised by them. Okay, stop being surprised. The next one is avoid sparring with them. Sparring/arguments. If you know an argument's about to come down, you just got to avoid that at all costs. Don't even get into it with them. You're never going to win. You're never going to win. Gray rocket. I'm not engaging. Don't engage. Disengage. Move yourself away. Be ready for the fallout. Be ready for you think you're all that. Because you're so much better than everybody else. Now you think I'm the narcissist? Look at you. Now you're abandoning me. You're going to get it all. Depending where they're at on the Thank you. Stop it. No. Okay, we're going to read through these comments in a minute. Yeah, I know that feeling. What she said was, I'm sorry, you guys. Blah, 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 blah. What Hot Pink Jalapenos said, that her ex got mad at her for holding open a door for an 80-year-old man. That's the shit I'm talking about, you guys. They're going to make you wrong. They're going to do it. Like, to me, I'm like, what a beautiful soul. She'd probably give up her chair and buy him a coffee too, right? I mean, like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And then there's some jackass over here telling you you're wrong. That speaks to their unhealthiness. So anyway, avoid sparring with them. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. If it's starting to go sideways, it's going sideways. Get out. You don't need to have the 10,000th time that's going to happen. I mean, if you are at a function and this starts, freaking call an Uber, remove yourself, get out, go to somebody else's house. Whatever you need to do, all right? Cut them off. I do not play with this type of behavior. Mama, don't go there, okay? We don't do that. And Papa, you don't go there either. You don't go there. You must stop engaging with this behavior because you are feeding them. No personal info. If it depends on where the narc is in your life, but like, let's say it's an ex and you have kids with them and they're like, oh, where are you going tonight? I'm just out with some friends. Well, where? I'm just going out with some friends, change the subject. Here's the thing that's fascinating too is, they might hammer you because it depends on their personality, but a lot of times we can beat them at their own game. And we can turn things around and change subjects on them too. Okay, and they can get sucked into that as well, all right? Because, they may have this hammering way of handling us, but they're not the smartest. I'm not saying they're not smart because they're extremely smart. I'm just saying they're not geniuses that we cannot work with, if that's a better way of saying it. Like, you can handle these situations too. You just got to get smart about it because you got to stop feeling bad about it. You got to stop feeling like you're the victim here. Yes, you are the victim. You've been victimized 100%. And you got to go, and I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I got to reclaim this power. Okay, the last one is no personal info. You don't want to share stuff with them. And be non-emotional. You just got to get really flatlined. People who are toxic or narcissistic in my life, or toxic behaviors, because a lot of times our beloved family members have toxic behaviors. And here's the thing, you guys, like this whole thing about, spot a toxic person and run for your life, we've all been toxic at some point. There's a list, there's a plethora of toxic behaviors. Taking things personally can be toxic and unhealthy. I prefer the term unhealthy, but the world responds to the word toxic, so I use that more. But there's a lot of unhealthy behaviors that I have done myself too. Would I want someone to cut and run while I was working through my life? No, right? I wasn't a narcissist. Of course, I'm on the people-pleasing spectrum, but there was some unhealthy behaviors that I was exhibiting too. So it doesn't mean we need to cut and run when a person does this to you. That doesn't mean you have to do that, okay? What this means is that you're learning to reclaim your personal power and you're showing up. Ooh, stalking. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end this soon so I can answer your guys' questions because you guys are being so awesome and commenting like crazy. So non-emotional, stay on non-emotional, okay? That's what you want to do, is you're not going to give them anything to work with, okay? And it's not that hard, to be honest with you guys. When you finally get it into your head, like, this person is not rational. I'm being rational here and they're not being rational. You're dealing with irrationality. You can't fix that, all right? Until they decide to be rational. So you have to know that so that you can put up your barriers and do what you need to do to heal, or I'm sorry, to protect your sacred self. The people who want to stay with you are going to grow. The people that have no interest staying with you are going to go. And that's okay, because they're going to bring all that unhealthiness, they're going to pile it onto somebody else. Now, here's a fascinating tidbit that you guys might like, is that the person that my son husband, my tsunami husband, went to, okay, that became his next wife, who he cheated on and was physically abusive to, and all the things with her too. She and I talk now. She and I talk, right? It's not her fault. It's not her fault. She was subjected to his stuff too. He did the same things to her, and he did it again to another girl afterwards. He had a third wife, all right? So for us to take this personally and think like, oh, there's something wrong with me, and to feel like we have to believe what they're saying, you guys, there's something with a true narcissist. There's something vastly unhealed inside of them, and you are not going to be the magic that comes in and fixes them. They're going to bring that, you set your boundaries, they're going to leave, okay? And boom, they're gone. All right, you guys, I am going to go through all messages are visible. Okay, let me see if I can scroll. All right, maybe when I'm scrolling, it'll stay on the screen. Okay, first we're going to start with Veronica. No. Hot Pink had something earlier. Let me scroll. Sorry, guys, on my phone instead of on my computer. Ask a question. Okay. I was just trying. Okay. I have a boundary. I have a lot of boundaries, but some of the young ones are a new level. I was just trying to get the policy on the holidays with rent office and couldn't, and she turned it into a monkey fest with no policy answer. So I said I'll have someone else call, and she said I threatened her with my, oh, this is jumping around. I threatened her what the heck? Okay, guys, sorry. It's not quite intuitive as it is on Flying Monkey tried to gaslight me. You guys are the best. You guys are really the best. Okay. Okay, new level. I was trying to get on a policy. She said I'll have someone else call and threaten. And she said I threatened her. What? Yeah. What? Unreal. And this is someone that is working with the public. My ex replaced me. I said, thank God you'll stop calling me 90 times a day. Okay, Veronica, I was in a toxic relationship with a man and decided to work on myself, told him I need some time to myself and it'd be better if we didn't see each other again. He was on and off his cell phone, ignore me at work. He was firmly in the thought that I wanted to end it. The relationship, I turned off my social media and focused on work. When I went to work 1 week later, well-known woman, I donated my hair once, and she made fun of me, came up to me and asked, hey, why did you break up? He can't understand it. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I had already taken issue with the subject and laughed at myself, but of course I thought that he wasn't feeling well and I wanted to text him again, but I noticed immediately I was blocked. The next day I see him and this woman standing together, laughing at break. I looked at them both and was just saddened by how mean someone can be. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's weird. After 3 months, I saw this woman again and was walking alone around town, and had this winning smile on her face. Now I'm grateful not to be in this triangulation. Amen, Veronica. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. Here is the total thing here. I'm going to take this off my stand so that I can look closely at this. Be grateful. Be grateful. Sit in that gratitude. Like, let it literally sink into your heart. Sit in that. Thank you so much, God, that I'm out of that. You learned the lesson and you moved on. Be grateful because you learned something and you moved on. You have literally broken free. Oh, okay, I'm getting the low power mode on my phone. So let me just quickly go through these again. Hot pink. Mexico. Okay. Well, my ex married her and she caused all kinds of mess. Yeah, that's not cool. You know, no, that's not cool when that happens. That is children first, you guys. Secure the kids, secure the kids, secure the kids. Ex got pissed, opened a door for an 8-year-old man. Took him 16 years to get away from him and for it all to stop as our kid grew up. You know, I'm proud of you that you did, though. Yes, it takes time. The child learned mommy doesn't have to talk to daddy for you. Yes. And you learned that, too. What do you do with narc stalking? I'm going to answer that. Move minutes away. Yep, doesn't know your address. Good for you, girlfriend. He said, stalk me. I'm assuming you're female. I can't really see the picture or whatever you identify as. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just, at this point, it's hard to tell. I have to go by people's names. All right. Yep. Yes, that's so kind. We should have more people that are lovely and hearted and help each other. Yes. What do you do with narc stalking? Going to answer that. Moved away. Doesn't know you're, okay. Narc's flying monkey tried to gaslight me. She tried to scare me in the parking lot. Flying monkey. Being smoky, I said, nah, with a smirk. It's actually clear here. Good for you. Yeah, simple. I said she turned it crazy. Apparently, she didn't know the holiday. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, you guys. Good. Oh, Kelly's here. Good afternoon, Kelly. Hi, just joining. I'm about to pop off, Kelly. It's been 77 minutes and my phone is dying. Yes, happy to be free. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to answer the stalking question real quick. Like, what do you do with someone stalking? Okay, this is nothing to take lightly. It's nothing to take lightly. And I want to handle this very carefully. If it's true stalking, you need to report it and 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 report it, because we know that weird things can come from that. We've all watched Dateline and 48 Hours, you know, those type of things. Things can come from that. So do not take that lightly. All right. Now, if you mean stalking via phone or stuff like that, you know, do blocking, do all the things that you need to do. But really the best person to ask this question to would be someone in the public safety department. And unfortunately, I know sometimes they can't do it. They can't do anything unless people they've done something already. We've heard that 10,000 times. And although stalking laws have changed in other states, so get it documented. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like looking like a jerk. Don't feel like you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Stalking is stalking, and it is based on some very unhealed stuff. All right, and we don't know what that unhealedness can turn into. So I'm going to really invite you to take care of yourself, be your best advocate, and do whatever it needs, and maybe even learn some self-defense. Learn some things about, like they say, if someone's following you, make all right turns. Stalking in person. Oh, good. Taking videos. Yes. And send them. Do this too. Send them to people or send them to your email. Do something in case your phone dies. Now, they might, yeah, send them. I'm thinking they might be on the biggest server, but yeah. Good to see you, Kelly. Working on that people-pleasing still, but getting better at it all the time. Girl, good deal, Kelly. And I can't wait for you to get my new book, The Recovering People Pleaser, because it is the Mac Daddy. I've never seen a book like this. And I just know it's going to help so many people. And I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But yeah, stalking, back to stalking. In person, yeah, you film that stuff. You make sure, Colbery, I think is your name. I don't know if you're male or female, colibri flyer, colibri flyer, is that your name? You know, if you're female, I suggest that you surround yourself, if you're with people out, that you're always making sure that you're near somebody, that you're never alone. I mean, stalking's not cool. And keep documenting and send it to somebody else, give it to somebody else, share like a hotspot or something and pop it over to somebody else's phone. Oh, you're a male in someone's, oh God, it means hummingbird. That's so sweet. Oh, you got it. Okay. All right. Same thing. Same thing. It's still not cool. And it's still not okay. So I'm going to give you all the same things. If you were female, I'm female. I have lots of hair. Self-defense classes. Yes. Very helpful. Here's the thing. What I want to address this with the men right now, because men are abused, you guys. They're abused probably almost as equally as women are, and it's not talked about. And I love that you are coming up here and you are sharing that with us, and you are a male, because we need more of you to speak out about this stuff, because I don't know if you were literally abused. I'm not saying that you were. I'm just saying that the fact that you have a female doing this to you, a lot of people might be, you know, like males can really discount males or really treat them poorly, like, oh, you're being a big baby and this and that. No, no, no. These are real threats. A threat is a threat is a threat. So treat it as such. Document like crazy. Do not interact. Again, stone cold, gray rock. Do not interact. Eventually, what I hope will happen, no interaction, not even stop following me around. Just leave. You know, just do whatever you need to do. Eventually, I'm hoping that person loses interest in you and finds another source to focus on, because I've had that happen with me and it was just so brief, because I was like, I just didn't even give it the time of day, and that person kind of petered off and went off to someone else. But I do know that this can turn into a crazy or dangerous thing, Kelly. Yes. So thank you from my heart. Colibri, I think is how you say it. I'm going to call you Hummingbird. Thank you from my heart for sharing that. Because on the Wisdom app, I have a lot of people, males come up and speak to me that have, you know, when I'm talking about abuse, male and female, and they will come up and they will share their stories. And I'm always so proud, because males have been repressed. You guys have really been oppressed. And you're not allowed to be human a lot of the time, because the world thinks that you need to be some superheroes that save everybody, and you know, the white knight that comes in, and they're discounting your humanness and your journey and your experience as well. And men as equally can be people pleasers, and can attract that type of crazy behavior. And I'm sorry that this is happening to you. I also want to say that that's not cool. That's not cool. And I trust that, like, I want to tell you, this is kind of weird, but I trust that the energy I felt from you when you came up on the screen. I feel energy from people, and I've learned to get really, really adept at reading that. And I want to say that the energy I feel from you is that you know what to do, and you're probably already implementing some of that, but keep going. Trust yourself. Trust yourself, because what's been missing all along is you trusting yourself. It's been you listening to stuff from the outside world that are influencing over what you know to be true within yourself. I ended the 17 years ago, and he's still seeking. What the actual bleep? God, people. I'm glad that you are hot pink. You are. Wow. Yeah, restraining order. If it comes to that, then it comes to that. Don't be afraid to do it. Again, even if you're male, I don't care. I keep my boundaries up and minimum contact with these narcs. I have a couple of narcs in my building. Good for you. Good for you. Keep that up, you guys. It sounds like a lot of you are so on the right track, and I'm so super proud of you guys. And my phone battery is dying. I got the 20% thing. So my microphone is plugged into the bottom of this, and I don't have the charging cord with me. So I'm going to have to dip. But this has been a really beautiful and delightful conversation, and I love interacting with you guys, and I want to just give you a really heartfelt thank you for being here with me today, and for communicating with me, because I love getting to know you guys. I love to hear your stories. We're all in the same planet. We're all in the same boat. We're all people on the spiritual path trying to reclaim our personal power. And when we've, yeah, and when we can, yes, and when we can, you know, link arms on this path together, we are stronger in numbers. So thank you for being here, you guys. And if anybody else has anything else to say, I'll give you a couple seconds to send up something. If you've enjoyed this, give me some thumbs up or a heart or some clappy hands or those little wiggly fingers. I would love to see if you guys like that. I think there's a delay in how you guys, you know, when you guys receive things, because some people are answering questions. Yeah, Kelly, I haven't been on Wisdom for a while. I've been focusing a lot here, but I do have a lot of talks that are already recorded there. So if you want to check that out, Wisdom is a really cool app, but it's like going through some changes right now. So thank you. There's my claps and my hearts. Thank you, Kelly. All right, you guys, I am going to dip out now. Thank you for coming. So much love to each and every one of you, and I can't wait to talk to you on our next live. Okay. Peace, everybody.